This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for, and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads, and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house. Welcome to the House of Hockey podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Breezy.
And I'm your other co-host, Rae Rae, trying to hide my headphone cord, and it's not working. And welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, episode 88. We have a guest.
89.
Oh, 89. I just changed it. Holy crap.
Does it matter? Is anybody counting at home?
I don't think so. Well, we do have a guest this week. We have a Jill of all trades. She's a ice hockey player, digital marketer, strategist, beauty queen, hockey coach, all around good person. You want to do the honors?
Joanna Nagle, who's also, when we say beauty queen, she is Miss Vermont USA, wearing a legit crown and a sash, and she's going on to compete in the Miss USA competition the weekend of the 29th, or whatever day, November 29th is the day of the competition. So you must tune in and cheer her on. Don't worry, she'll tell you during the interview where to watch. She's incredible. She is such a talented hockey player. She played in college, she coaches, she plays in adult leagues. Oh, and she's like competed to become Miss Vermont USA, and she freaking won. And she's helping promote the sport of hockey to women. It's like the coolest thing. I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, and she's pretty much what she thinks is the only ice hockey player in her little beauty queen. What do you call that?
Pageant world.
Pageant world, yes. I was going to say a huddle for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. But it's really cool, and people are taking a liking to her, and people have been asking her, like, hey, can you teach me, how to skate and whatnot? So I think that's pretty cool. She's doing a good job, and she's kind of touches on how she coaches the little, her team. I don't want to say little because they're not necessarily little, but she gives us a little insight on that, and overall, she's just a good person. So we were super happy to have her on the show.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a great inspiration for anybody to realize that no matter what you think about anything, you can accomplish it. She never thought she would do a Miss USA pageant, right? And then you'll hear why she decided to do it, and here she is. Now she has this incredible platform and opportunity to help grow the sport of hockey as well, because she's known in the competition as like the hockey girl, which you'll hear stories about that too. And but she's just like what you would expect from a hockey player. She's so down to earth. She loves the sport. She has a lot to say. She's super smart. And we even quizzed her like beauty pageant style with some hard-hitting questions too.
Yeah. And she passed, if anybody was. But
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she won the whole thing. I mean, I haven't checked out the competition, but I'm rooting for her. So,
Definitely. And we'll have to tune in. It's Monday, November 29th. We'll also send you guys a reminder on social media when to watch and where to watch it. And she will touch on it as well. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, you're going to really enjoy our conversation with Joanna. I don't think I've ever interviewed a Miss USA of any state or, all in all. I don't think I have. I've interviewed all kinds of people, but I think that might be a first.
I've never been in any form of a room, including a Zoom room, with anybody that has been a Miss anything. So that was cool.
It was. We talk about this a little bit in the episode, but I used to get, in the interview rather, I remember growing up, we would get hard mailings, like old school paper mail, like in the mailbox, with advertisements to compete in these kinds of pageants. And I remember always looking at it and being like, I could totally do that. But I never had any like support from, or encouragement around me to do that. But I also wasn't like, I really want to do this. So, but you were saying you never got those kinds of mailers?
No, I don't know of anybody that got any of those mailers. Yeah, no. I mean, I live in an area where they probably were like, oh, let's not send it to that area. Let's send it to like the Huntington Beach area or something like that. But
Oh,
no, I don't remember getting anything in the mail up until I turned like 16, and then people just wanted to start sending me bills at that point. So
maybe your parents threw them out. We are not paying for her to compete in pageants and have it's an expensive thing with those
yeah, and they
dresses and all
they
that.
knew I would do it.
Of
I mean,
course.
obviously they knew I was just going to jump at, wearing dresses,
But you could win a
heels.
scholarship, you can win money.
I'm still not putting a freaking dress on to win. Like, let's be real.
Hey, you never know. You should
Hmm,
you should ask.
I
You
should
should
ask.
ask your parents. You should ask your parents if they got those in the mail and they just never gave them to you.
Do you want me to call him right now and ask him?
You could have been a beauty queen, Breezy.
I doubt it.
They
But
crushed your
thank you.
dreams.
You crushed my dreams of being a beauty queen. Instead, they put me into freaking park and rec basketball.
It's not the path for everybody, but
It's not.
it wasn't the path for me either. I don't think
No.
that would have been that wouldn't have gone well. Like, yeah, but Joanna, this is not to put Joanna down. This is sounding like we're poo-pooing pageants. We're not. We're not at all.
No.
Big supporters because it takes a lot of effort and time to do that, and you really do get an opportunity to have a platform
Yeah.
and influence other young men and women
And it's
about
a
what you
lot
care
of work.
about.
It's a lot of work. You got, a lot of stress on there. You got to take care of yourself. You have to stay like physically fit and really, keep yourself in line to be able to do this. So, I mean, kudos to anybody who does do it. I could never do it. Uh, and that's a lot of eyeballs on you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Oh my God, yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
pressure.
But
And
super cool to hear about it for sure.
yes. So I think you all will be inspired by our conversation with her. But anyway, just had to set that record straight. We weren't poo-pooing pageants because why would we wouldn't have her on if that was the case. We think it's pretty incredible that she can do all of it. She's this badass on the ice who can play hockey, you know,
Yeah.
better than the rest of us. And then she can also command a stage and wear a crown. Like, who, what? How much better does that get? Like, yeah, I'm not there. That's not me.
No, that's not you. It's not me. Um,
No, that's why Joanna is Joanna and she's competing.
yes.
Okay, so after I've now tried to dig us out of the hole that I thought we were building accidentally,
I don't think we dug any hole. I was
okay,
poo-pooing
good.
myself for wearing a dress. The last time I wore a dress was in 1999.
I
So
can't. I
just
don't even know
saying,
what you just said to me.
just saying, 1999 was the last time I wore a dress.
That
If
was
that,
22 years ago.
yes, and it was at my sister's wedding. And that was it. So that's why I'm poo-pooing on wearing a dress for a pageant.
Of course.
Oh,
I don't have anything against dresses.
I'm
I'm
just,
fine with dresses. I have to wear them for work a lot of the time, which is fine. But I'm more comfortable not in a dress. Except in the summertime, I do like a dress because I get overheated and I like not a lot of things touching my body or tight clothes.
makes sense.
But that's about it. Would you ever wear a dress to a hockey game?
Absolutely not.
Me
I
neither.
wouldn't wear I wouldn't wear a dress to bed. Like,
You don't wear a
no,
nightgown?
no, I don't.
I don't either. You know who I just bought a nightgown for? Aunt
Anthony.
Tony. Okay, wait. I have to tell this story briefly, quickly.
Okay.
So the guys who like spray for bugs, right? Like they'd spray for mosquitoes and stuff, whatever in the yard. They always come really early in the morning. And she had on a long sweater that went to her knees, but it's see-through, and she didn't know. And she opened the door to talk to the bug spray guy, and he was like looking her up and down. It's like, wow. Hello there. She's like, why is he looking at me? He was looking at me so funny. I had clothes on. I'm like, that sweater is see-through. I'm buying you a nightgown that's not see-through.
Oh
So the
no.
next time you get up and go to open the door, you don't give the guy a show. I said, he's going to be begging to come spray at our house every time now.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah. But
Um,
anyway, yeah. But it's just like, I don't, are we going there? We're going there. I mean, I don't sleep in pajamas, but like I wear pajama type clothes at night, you know?
yeah, because I think like you go to the store like, oh, I need to go buy pajamas, right?
Right.
But like I've never gone and said like I say, oh, I'm gonna sleep in this tonight, and I just pull like a random shirt out of my dresser.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like I don't those pajama sets that gets too hot. I get too hot. I can't sleep with a lot of clothes on. I'll just leave it at that.
And they're just so funny. Every time I see my mom, I'm like, is there a freaking flood? Like, your pajamas don't even go to your ankles.
I
Like,
know.
I don't
Why
know.
who
I don't know.
who invented the nightgown? Why does it go to the mid calf? What is this?
I
And
mean,
why
what,
are they so hideous with these horrible old lady patterns, you know?
and like lace sleeves. I was like, did you change or is that a nightgown? She goes, it's a nightgown. I went, those are pajamas?
So pajamas, I know. Of course, I bought Antoni something very hip and cool, and it's all black. So, you know.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
But anyway, we're talking about pajamas. Should we talk a quick little bit of hockey? How did we get here? What are we
I,
doing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, all I got for you is the Blackhawks went on a four-game win streak, which was wonderful, but they lost to the Edmonton Oilers, which isn't totally surprising. And then Kyle Beach. Do you want to read us the news about Kyle Beach?
Yeah, let me pull that up here.
You pull that up, and then I'm going to talk about two shocking things. The New York Islanders are at the bottom of their division, which I thought at this point, that's a little shocking based on what we thought preseason and all of the trades that they made. So they're having a little bit of a rough go right now, but they do have a brand new building to play in. They had their debut. They've had two games as of when we recorded this in UBS Arena. Everybody's loving the arena. So cheers to the Islanders fans for finally having a brand new barn. And then something I have noticed either through social media or reading the news about the league, no one talks about Minnesota, but they're first in the frickin' Central. First, the Minnesota Wild are first in the Central, and nobody's talking about them.
I mean,
Nobody's writing news stories. Nobody's talking about them.
I think it's just expected that Minnesota would be good because of, I mean, they play in freaking Minnesota, right? Like,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, no one
it's
talks about them.
nobody's talking about them. Nobody expected them to be in first place at this point in the season in the Central.
Right.
They've lost the last three of their five games, but they're still in the first in the Central. Everybody's like, the Avs, the Avs, the Avs. Nah, nah. Okay, they're not first right now. So, yeah, obviously things can change, but I'm a little disappointed in the lack of coverage on the Minnesota Wild, which is something I never thought I would say, but is due. And they did play extremely well in the playoffs last season. So,
Okay. So we'll see that. But speaking of new barns, can we
yeah,
talk about how they want to rename Staples Center to
they won.
Crypto? It's Crypto Arena or something, Crypto.com Arena.
Are you serious?
Christmas Day, $700 million talks, I guess, but it's forever going to be Staples to me. I'm sorry. Whenever I refer to Staples Center or Crypto.com, it's going to be Staples Center. Just saying.
I can't believe they gave up the naming rights.
I'm just so confused. I was sitting there, I'm like, is this an April Fool's joke in November? Like,
I'm
it's
with
supposed to
you.
happen Christmas Day, I guess. I don't know. I haven't read too much into it. I've been a little MIA from the internet for the last couple weeks, but from what I saw, that's what it is, apparently.
Jeez.
I don't know.
Well, when that happened to my Chicago White Sox and they renamed Comiskey Park, they've renamed it 2 times, I think, in the last 15 years, probably. I don't know what it's called. It will forever be called Comiskey Park to me. And if you're real Chicago, it's Kaminsky Park. So I'm with you on the like, I'm not calling it whatever stupid thing it is now. We're calling it what we've always known it as is Staples. Like we're
And
going to Staples Center.
but I think the most important thing is that they just keep it up to how they have Staples, right? Like still have it be a safe place for individuals to go to, but most importantly, I would rather just have a good hockey team. I don't care what their arena's name is. Just have a good hockey team and keep it safe. Name it whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But it will always be Staples to me. But if you want to call it, I don't even know what you would want to call it. If you want to call it something, fine. But just make sure that the team is good. That's all I want.
Valid point, Breezy. Valid point.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's almost all I have for the day.
Tell us about Kyle.
Yes.
Good
So this came
news.
across my phone. Kyle Beach. Everyone knows who Kyle Beach is at this point. He started his first hockey game Friday night since October 27th, or his October 27th interview with Rick Westhead on TSN Sports, confirming he was the player in the Blackhawks 2010 scandal. He scored twice, and his team won 8-2. So he signed on with the Black Dragons Erfurt in Germany. I probably botched that. The team supports his courage for speaking up and has been supportive in any way necessary. So Kyle has played his first game back since his interview, scored 2 goals, got a huge win, and he's playing in Germany, and he's being supported by his teammates, the organization, and everyone there, which is really great to hear.
You love to hear this. It is great to hear. I'm very happy for him. I'm so happy he is back on the ice and that this has not stopped him from playing hockey and that he has an organization that is supportive and got his back because that's what he's needed all this time. And good for him. I'm really glad. I'm really
Yeah,
glad.
I agree. I agree.
That's good news. That's some good news for him. And that is really refreshing to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. I,
Especially coming after a crypto.com rename of Staples Center.
blah.
But happy for Kyle, and even
Happy for
happy
Kyle.
to bring this over to our guest.
Happy for Joanna.
Yeah. Happy for Kyle,
Happy for Kyle.
not happy for Staples Center.
Not happy for Staples Center. Hit play on the interview with Joanna already.
I'm like cricket.
This week's episode of the House of Hockey podcast is brought to you by
The NHL season is underway, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has unbelievable offers to celebrate the greatest sport on ice. They got that right. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a one-time clapper or a deft deflection. However they light up the lamp, you'll win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. Throw down any $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. This week, one puck in the net gets you a big win with promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only, new customers only, minimum $5 deposit, and $1 wager required. One per customer, restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to the house, Miss Vermont USA, Joanna Nagle.
Hi,
Did I say it
everybody.
right? Did I
Yes,
get
you
the title
said it
right?
right. Yes, I am Miss Vermont USA for 2021, and I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us. I love your title, and I'm sure people are like, why are they interviewing a Miss USA? That seems so sort of different than what you girls normally talk about. So, you're also really good at hockey, and you play hockey, and you coach hockey, and that is the connection. So, I guess let's start with hockey stuff. Tell us
Let's
your
do it.
journey into hockey.
So I started this crazy journey actually as a figure skater. I started figure skating at age 3, and then I saw my first hockey game at age 8, and it was all over from there, pretty much. You know, you watch a hockey game, you want to be involved in some way. So I knew how to skate. Hockey skates were definitely a little more troublesome than I thought originally. The switch was a little more difficult. But from there, I ended up playing with a local youth team, went on to play varsity high school, and then went on to play 4 years of ACHA at the University of Vermont.
Crazy. What a story. So what you said you saw your first hockey game that made you want to play hockey. Who did you watch?
I watched the UVM men's team. They were unreal. In Vermont, it's so hard because if you want to go see an NHL team, you have to either drive the 3 or 4 hours plus traffic to Boston, or you need to go jump the border and go to Montreal, which really is maybe an hour and a half. So not bad, but you also have to cross the border.
That's true.
What was it about the hockey game that got you into it?
There was so much, but it comes down to two things. One, how fast and wild it was. I mean, it looked like chaos to me. I was used to like the ice dancing, everything's very organized. That was chaos, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And there was mistakes everywhere, whereas figure skating, it was like if you mess up, like you're like, "Oh, oops." But with hockey, they just get back up and they're gunning down the ice. It was amazing to watch. But on top of that, the atmosphere in general, the crowd, the student section, how could you not like it?
We agree with that statement because we love it, and everybody we encounter, we're like, hockey is the greatest. But anyway, so you played through college. You played on the collegiate level,
Yes.
and then this is the thing with women's hockey, especially, and we've talked to several other professional women hockey players, is like in college, the career path, like post college for women in hockey, especially in the athletics, it's sort of the journey sort of ends there. But you found a way to continue it. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do with hockey now.
Yes, I decided after college that I still love the sport. I knew that there wasn't, that many opportunities, but I really dug deep and thought about my career as a hockey player and what I was able to do. And in that, I thought back to the coaches that I had. And I realized that out of all the years that I played organized hockey, I had a female coach one of those years out of, years and years of hockey. And that's when I realized that there's a real need for female hockey coaches, especially those, non-parent, younger, can connect with kids coaches. So immediately I reached out to the youth league that I grew up with and was able to assistant coach a team. And that first year instilled so much joy, and I felt like I was doing something for the community. I felt like I was actually making a difference, and that got me hooked. And I've been coaching for this is my 6th season now.
Wow, crazy. Would you say that a female hockey coach that with kids may have more impact than a male coach in a certain way?
Absolutely, they do. And that just comes down to it's that person that they can connect to, someone who has been through the same experiences that they have. Male coaches are great. I've coached alongside male coaches, and they definitely give a lot to the kids. But when it comes to keeping the kids engaged, keeping the kids wanting to play for more years, I have seen with the female coaches that I've worked with that girls just want to talk and have fun and are more engaged with the practice when it's a younger female coach that they have developed that relationship where it's somewhere in the middle of a friend and like a teacher or a parent. You're almost that middle ground where you can tell them a little more stuff, but there's still that authority figure as well.
I would
Te-
agree with you.
yeah. Tell us a little bit more about like the coaching status today with the youth. What is the ages again that you coach?
So I've throughout my years I've coached anywhere between U10s and U16s, but
Okay.
this year I have a U12 team.
Okay. So this is like the prime years. Those are the prime development years for kids to take that, to try to make it to another level, to play, whether that's in college, at university, or beyond. And we've seen so much of the traditional coaches in the NHL have shifted, and there's so much push for a different type of coaching. What are you seeing at your level in the development of what's working with coaching as far as like having relationships, not having too close of relationships, but then, towing that line and being really strict in the yelling kind of like Tortorella? Like, what is that balance and what does that look like in the next generation that's coming up? That
Yeah,
was like five questions in one, but
I'll try to cover some of those in this answer. But what I've noticed is that especially with girls and especially with youth is that you see a large drop off in participation after around the U12 U14 year. And a lot of that comes down to you have these typically they're male coaches, some female, that think that this is like a varsity high school team and they run it as such, which is great for some players, but in my opinion, hockey players are some of the best athletes that are out there and they should be trained as such. And that doesn't quite mean, you sprint them for a full hour on the ice. That means you let them have a day off so they can go to soccer practice. You let them have a day off to go to another sport, lacrosse, because all of those things are going to make them a better player. And I think that's something that coaches are starting to understand, that they need to have that kind of breadth to their athletic ability. That's what's going to make them not only a better player, but a better person. And down the line, they're going to be able to handle those higher level, higher prestige levels, like whether it's college or whether it's beyond. They need to have that large amount of athletic ability, because if they're just hockey players, they're not going to go too far unless they're a full, complete athlete.
I'm sure you get a lot of pushback on that.
Yes.
Like
Yes, I
the
do.
letting them go to, soccer. I mean, I can only correlate that to back when I was trying to be an athlete in high school. And I wanted to take singing lessons as well to see if I could possibly sing. And the singing coach was like, you aren't going to be able to do golf and softball and all of these other things. If you're serious about this, you have to dedicate every single, all of this stuff like you would to this. And you're not going to be able to do both. And when I listened to myself sing, I was like, yeah, so this isn't going to go very far for me. So I'm going to stick with the other stuff. But I can only imagine that like the pushback you get, especially if it's a really competitive system.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not in too competitive of a league, but I just find that they're more engaged if we let them do what they want to do, especially at this age. We're in the youth development game where, I'm not training the best hockey player in the world. I'm trying to train a very solid athlete. So for me, that means they're going to be more engaged if I let them go to soccer practice. If they think hockey means that they have no winter whatsoever, they can't do anything else that they want to do, they have a really rigorous schedule. At the ages of 11 and 12, that's a turnoff for a lot of potential really good athletes. And that kind of lifestyle, I think, is something that a lot of people are going away from.
Definitely. I mean, we saw that. We had a guest on a couple weeks ago, a youth player, Tiny Beast Abby, and she plays hockey, but she also plays softball and soccer, and she's doing all these other things. But at the end of the day, she goes back to hockey because that's her number one priority. and it's awesome. And she's fantastic. She's a great athlete, and she's a great kid. And I think that speaks volumes on her coaches too, because that's the one thing that she's always mentioned was my coaches are the ones that are driving me to want to keep practicing. There's no days off, but that didn't mean no days off for hockey. So I think that's
Yeah,
a prime example.
exactly. Make hockey fun and engaging. They're gonna show up. That doesn't mean we need to tell them don't do anything else. It's the best sport out there. They're gonna come back. You just got to make it fun, engaging, and make sure they still have time for all the good kids stuff as well.
Exactly.
And you do you play like in rec leagues too?
Yes, I play in a couple men's leagues, a couple women's leagues. It's been a lot of fun since being crowned. I won my local men's league championship, and I also won the local Hockey Fights MS tournament as well. So that's been it's been a lot of fun. I love to play. I usually play with my dad or my roommate, and it's the best way for me to stay in shape.
Oh, I can only imagine. Breezy and I, unfortunately, are not skilled in the hockey playing area of life. And we've had our stories that we've shared over the years of why we haven't attempted to play again as adults. So we admire you for doing that because I have dreams about me like skating gloriously on the ice. And then I wake up and realize that that's not my reality. But when you play in like the rec leagues, what are your team names? Are they anything like super fun and creative? Or what's your nickname on the ice?
Oh, I there's a lot of answers to that. So team names, I've had a lot over the years. A couple of them have been, well, currently the Cluster Pucks has been one. I had a team that I played with for a long time called Boss, and it was supposed to be, blades of stainless steel. And instead, we kind of joked around that it stood for bunch of, excuse my language, shitty skaters. So, there's all those like little fun things. I've played for like a team called the Hockey Donkeys. We have so many interesting names. I mean, it's hockey, adult hockey culture is so fun in that way. They really like to have fun. But for me personally, I have had a lot of nicknames over the years. My biggest one is Joe Beast. Something my dad came up with. The kids in high school thought it was like something they could bully me with, and then I made it my Xbox gamer tag, and now I own it. It's my name now. So it's on some of my jerseys for sure.
That's good. Why were they calling you Beast?
I was
Like,
a I was a tall, like I was 5'11" since like eighth or ninth grade. So I was a big girl among all these,
right.
5'4" girls. I was a beast. I was big.
Well, I love that you took ownership of it because that, I think,
Oh yeah, have
being
fun
a
with it. Life
beast
is
is
short.
awesome
Yeah.
now, maybe not when you're like 13. It could be,
Oh yeah, when you're
a little,
13, people don't like it as much, but
yeah.
I like it now.
Okay, now tell us. Okay, let's stick with hockey for one more. I have one more question, and Breezy might have another one. Give us some stories, any kind of hockey stories from your days of either playing in college or even in adult leagues now. Anything funny, anything ridiculous, any kind of
Oh
prank,
man.
anything that is like appropriate and okay to share beyond the locker room.
Yeah, there's actually something that I hope I get the details right, but it popped up on like my Facebook memories the other day that there was a game in college. I believe we were playing Westchester University, and we never wanted to play them again after this. There was 120 minutes of penalty minutes in that one game,
Oh my
and
God.
it was like the score sheet. I was president of the team at the time, so I had the score sheet, and I remember just being shocked. It was constant. It was the chippiest, grossest, meanest game of hockey that has probably ever been played. It so many penalties. There was like 3-on-3 at one point. That's how just absolutely ridiculous this game was. And I ended up scoring that game, thankfully, but it was like the 11th goal of the game. Like there was no real hockey being played. It was like goal, penalty, 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 goal, goal, penalty. It was the wildest game that I think I played in college.
And people
Entertaining though.
say, yeah,
Oh
people
yeah, it
say
was very entertaining.
women's hockey is not boring, people. We need to like dispel that statement right here with that story alone.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's some games where some girls do have beef with each other and you can tell instantly they're going hard, they're angling hard, they're being aggressive with every puck battle and it makes it fun. I mean, it's my kids the other day asked me, "Why can't we check?" And I was like, "We're craftier than that. Like we
Good
can do
answer.
other things." I was like, "Here's all the things I can teach you that we can do. This is aggressive, right?" And I angle them off into the board. So like, "Oh, we can do that." So, it's just kind of reframing it. Don't need to body someone in the boards to be aggressive.
Very true. But it is also fun to watch
It's
it.
it's fun. It's fun.
I think that's why people like hockey so much too, is because it's a violent sport, and I think people like violence to some extent.
And it's a
That might be
healthy
part of it.
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
healthy place to let that frustration out, you know.
If
It
there was such thing as healthy violence.
Yeah,
right. That's true. That's yeah, a little counterintuitive, but
yeah.
yeah. As long as you're not like actually injuring somebody, then I think that's the definition of healthy violence. But I
Yep.
don't know.
No
We're not
injuries.
encouraging
No and no,
violence.
no injuries. Just a strong aggressive play.
Exactly.
There you go.
What do you think of the progress that's been made with the women linesmen and lines, well, I guess lines person? I don't want to offend anybody.
Hmm.
Women who are referees that are now at the professional level in like the OHL, and then even seeing people like Kendall Coyne in a development role with the Blackhawks, and we're seeing more women coming up in the coaching space into the NHL. What's your opinion of all of that, and where do you think it's going to go, and how long until we see a woman behind the bench in the NHL?
Yeah, I love to see women in all these new roles in sports, but when it comes to hockey, I'm not yet satisfied. I want to see that head coach. I want to see at least a woman on the bench. We have all these behind the scene coaches, directors in all these different spaces, but I just don't see them as often when it comes to actually watching the NHL game. I don't see them behind the benches. I don't see them as often on the lines. I do see them a little bit in other sports like the NFL. They're a little more visible, which is great. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and these positions are all great stories, but it's nowhere near equal. It's so far from equal. And while it's great on the national level and in those high level areas, we don't see it on the youth level. I'm still seeing,
Mm-hmm.
all male refs at the youth level. I'm still seeing predominantly male coaches at the youth level. So it's not trickling down yet, and we're also not yet at the top. So for that reason, I'm like, God, there's a lot left to be desired. I'm happy that we're making movement. It's just not fast enough for me.
Yeah. It's like the chicken and the egg. Do we need both. We need to see women in these, more higher up positions on the national scale, but then where is the disconnect happening that we're not taking that and using that as a model to recruit younger women and men to be involved in the sport moving forward in a coaching sort of space, so especially
Exactly.
women.
Exactly. Representation means so much, just being able to be visible. So for all of these NHL roles that I'm seeing, a lot of them are behind the scenes. So no one's really seeing these women actually perform and coach and do what they need direct. It's so behind the scenes. It's either a desk job or it's a video coaching position. That's not really helping the younger generation. It needs to be someone visible, someone out there. And I feel like we're just not quite yet there.
How do
Very
we
true.
get there?
We need a lot. So not only do we need women trying to going for these positions, fighting off any imposter syndrome of being the first or being one of the first in that position, but on top of that, all of these men that are currently in these positions, they have that privilege and they can utilize it to further that agenda. So it getting in their ear, reminding them, hey, you have that power. You can speak up for that female coworker that you used to have or female athlete that you saw and hire them, promote them, manage them, teach them. That's how I got into coaching is that I had a male head coach that said, "Yes, I want to train a female assistant." it takes people like that to utilize their privilege and help us.
Yeah, we need the male allies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all in this together. It's not like us against the world. It's like, no, let's handhold a little bit. Let's all get to a place that we can all be happy with.
Ew, don't hold my hand. That's
Yo,
gross.
cooties.
Ew. No,
Yep.
we need that for sure. Breezy, do you have more hockey questions?
Yeah, I want to know about hockey in Vermont.
Yeah.
I just want to know all about it. I mean, who do you guys cheer for on like the national level? Who's your college team that you cheer for? AHL, what are kids rocking on the street? I mean, favorite players, what's all going on in Vermont?
Oh yeah, Vermont hockey's great just because it's winter most of the year. It already snowed up here, so
What?
the normal. Yep, I went to the gym the other day and I came out and there was snow in my car. So I like that because it means pond hockey season will be here eventually.
I just
But
keep
yeah,
thinking
lots
of
of
Johnny Tsunami whenever I think of Vermont. So
Yep. There's a lot of Bruins fans up here. There's a lot of Canadians fans up here. You get the occasional Flyers fan. I'm personally a Caps fan. I spent a couple years in the DC area. Um, they're all very interested in hockey. The biggest thing around here is NCAA hockey. That's where you'll see a bunch of kids running around. We always pack the arena. We have Gutterson Fieldhouse, which is an amazing barn up there. I was just there last night, actually. And it's electric. It's great. It's local. It's cheap. It's fun. It's good hockey. There's usually like big names like Northeastern or UMass coming into town, and all big Northeastern names. So it's a really good time. But the big difference with Vermont hockey is the pond hockey. There's Lake Champlain that we have up here, and it freezes over every year. There's a couple pond hockey tournaments that are up here, and everyone comes out. They've got bonfires on the lake. You got tents of hot apple cider and beer and all that kind of fun stuff, and everyone comes out and has a full day. It's so amazing to see.
that is awesome.
You know what that reminds me of, Breeze, and you too, Joanna, is like it reminds me a little bit of what we've heard about Minnesota hockey. That, I mean, they do have a National League team, but the passion is much more on the college level, and those arenas are sold out, anytime there's a game.
Yeah, they're wild.
And the outdoor ponds there too, of course, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
your
and
guys are
that's where
like,
you learn all the fun stuff is on the pond, because you're like, it's just me out here. I'm gonna fool around. You don't got, a lot of space to handle, so you've got to have really good hands. And the best players that I've seen are ones that either like grew up on a pond or they make sure they're on a pond most of the winter.
Jeez, are there any players in the National League that are from Vermont? By the
There's been a couple
yeah.
over the years. Tim Thomas is probably one of the bigger ones. Marty St. Louis is another big one.
Mm,
I would say those
realize
are
that.
those are the two biggest that I can think of off the top of my head.
okay. I was gonna say, I wonder, can we see some Vermont fast hands? Well, I can't even talk today, so that's fun.
Angie's feeling under the weather. What were you trying to say?
I don't even know. I don't even know where I'm going at.
Rainy Saturday vibes is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, take us into how the hell did you get into Miss USA, going from this life of from what we've heard of devotion to hockey. I mean, you played in college, like that's, a very one-way kind of path that takes up so much of your time. You're on the road traveling to away games. Like, how did you get introduced into this like very split sort of element of two things? That's not the right like dichotomy
Yeah,
between these two things.
definitely. It's been such a fun journey doing something that's so vastly different in a lot of people's eyes. And how it came about was I got a flyer in the mail my senior year of college, and my sister
I
picked it up.
remember
And
getting those in the mail
yes,
in
yes, they
Illinois.
used
I
to do
would,
those all the time, the old
yes.
school marketing. And they get you that way, which is great. But my sister came in with the flyer, and I'm sitting there in a hockey sweatshirt like I am now, and hockey sweatpants, like just fully looking like I'm about ready to go to a rink or just came back from practice. I probably smelled like that's the level of what I looked like literally just now. I haven't changed still. Um, but she hands it to me, and I kind of look at her, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? And she goes, do it. And I told her, hey, I'm a hockey player. And that's when she said, that's what would make this cool. She's like, you should do this, try it. You always try anything put in front of you. I'm putting this in front of you, basically, was what she was trying to say. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And so I go out there and I have a blast. It like my heart had never pounded like that hard. Like it was like a championship level like feeling when you're like about to go out there. And it took so much training. It felt very similar to training for hockey. I had to really focus on my nutrition, which college athletes, yes, we do focus on nutrition, but we've also got like some serious like we need to eat. We're burning calories until who knows when at night. Like I remember eating like 5 or 6 meals. That doesn't, like it's
Wow.
crazy. But now it's like putting in this nutrition element to those 5 or 6 meals, doubling down on everything. And I mean, it's been such a wild road, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And now I finally get my dream of being the first Miss USA hockey player on the stage.
The first? Ooh, I just got the chills.
As far as I know that there's been some girls who have competed in the Miss America system and some girls who have competed in other systems that have played before. But as far as I know, not a ton of Miss USA contestants have been hockey players. Definitely not on this scale.
That is so cool. Okay, tell us so with the Miss USA system, what are the challenges? That's not the right word, but what are the categories that you have to present when you are competing?
So there are 3 main areas of competition. The first is interview, which is usually closed door, very much like this, where, I get asked questions that are pretty much based on who I am as a person. So as you can imagine, judges are usually pretty interested in the hockey aspect because it's not something they normally hear. And then after that is the fitness competition, which is what everyone kind of knows with the swimsuits. And that's basically focused on 1, confidence, and 2, whether you appear to be a healthy person, healthy lifestyle, fit. That can mean anything from super muscly to, you were clearly very fit. And the third would be evening gown, which is all focused on elegance and poise and connecting with the audience. And that part can be a lot of fun for sure. I very much enjoy having some sort of like wild cape. It's, it's something different. I like to have crazy hockey jerseys and I like to have crazy gowns. So mix it up.
I love it. I
That
love
is
it.
awesome.
So you won this year the title. So then, like, tell everybody sort of like what the next steps are and what you're going to compete in the Miss USA to win
Yes.
all of it, right? I'm sorry. I'm trying to like remember my Miss Congeniality and it's not
Miss
coming back.
Congeniality is great. You know what? Miss Congeniality isn't that far off from what it's like, to be honest. I just watched it like maybe like a week ago. But basically what happens is all the states crowned a winner. So I was crowned Vermont in June. And we've been training ever since for the Miss USA competition, which will be all 51 of us, so DC included in that. And I'm like looking, if you see me looking off, I'm looking at my calendar because it's really ticking down for me. And basically we leave next week and we will be there for a full week rehearsing, making sure that we know where to go on stage and at what time there's going to be an opening number, all of that great, crazy stuff. We'll have a couple of events here and there. And then we have the actual competition, which will be nationally televised, which talk about a very scary moment when you're going to go on national TV in a bikini. I'm excited for it. I really am. It still is nerve wracking.
Wait, what day is that? So everybody
That
can
will be
watch.
on November 29th on
Okay.
FYI and Hulu.
All right.
Everybody's going to watch. We're going to be cheering for you. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
What else?
Yes, I think this is going to be like the most people have worn hockey jerseys while watching Miss USA ever.
Wait, are like friends and family allowed to come or is it closed off because of COVID?
Thankfully, it's not closed off. It was closed off last year, and we were, really wondering how it was going to go. But thankfully, family and friends will be able to go. So I'll have my family and my roommate, who was my captain in college. So I'm very excited.
Are they going to be wearing the jerseys that say Joe Beast on them?
I think they're going to dress up for the actual competition, but I actually I have send-off party tonight for Miss USA. And I actually, of course, in classic me fashion, it's going to be at a hockey rink. Most people do it at like a country club, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it at a hockey rink. We're gonna rent out the ice. We're gonna skate around. So that's kind of the way that we're gonna celebrate, and we're gonna have hockey jersey. Everyone who's played with me or coached under me is gonna wear the jersey that correlates with that moment in time. And I think there is a hockey jersey there that says Miss Vermont USA on the back that everyone's gonna sign and all that. Yeah, I'm making it as fun and hockey filled as I possibly can.
That is so cool.
What's the like reaction from the other girls you compete with when they hear that you also play hockey?
That's a great question because I have had some really funny moments with my sister title holders because we all went to a retreat in Cancun, actually. How amazing is that? All
Amazing.
expenses paid, wonderful vacation at the Nizook Resort over there. And basically, there's anything from girls being like, we all know each other because of social media, right? There's no secrets. I know who all these girls are. And I still remember South Dakota, Caroline Petty. She came up to me and I introduced myself as Joanna. And we kept talking, and all of a sudden it clicked for her. And she just grabs me. She's like, "Oh my God, you're the hockey player. I'm obsessed with you." And I immediately burst out laughing that like most people knew me because I'm like, they're like, "That's the hockey player." And it was so cool to just have that reaction from some of the girls of, "Oh my God, that's who you are." Like, I think that's so cool from these girls that had never played before. I've joked around that I'm going to buy a van and just go around the 50 states teaching them all how to play hockey. They want me to seriously do that. So
That would be really funny if you took a van around, though. I think you
Yeah.
should do that.
yeah, I definitely should. I don't want to tell too many secrets, but there is a state costume competition. It's not judged, and basically we need to have a costume that represents our state. Let's just say that mine is hockey related. So
Oh,
stay tuned. That it's gonna be something that I don't think has ever been seen before, for better or worse. It's gonna be hockey
Yeah.
related.
Caesar.
Okay, now tell us how the Miss USA competition and all of that translates to your coaching, because I'm sure some of the parents have seen it or know that you also do that. And I'm sure you're telling the kids you coach, like, well, I'm going to be gone this week because of, I'm sure you're being really transparent with them. And like,
Yes.
what is their reaction to it?
It's been so funny. I've been competing, and competitions usually fall around hockey season because, it's the north and most of the year is hockey season. So there's that. But they've been all so supportive. It's become my platform mostly to coach and mentor and sports leadership. But I've seen a lot of support through my parents and my kids. They get so excited when they first learn that, I have this crown. They get very excited for it. They ask a lot of questions. But also, when I used to coach in Maryland and direct a program down there in Baltimore, and my kids one day, the day before I left for the competition, they all showed up to practice wearing these paper sashes that all said "Go Coach Joe" on it. And they're so supportive. They know that it takes away from about, a weekend or a week from hockey season, but to them it's very exciting for them to see me do it, and they all want to talk about it and ask me a bunch of questions, see pictures. So it's been positive.
That's
That's cool because it's like you're supportive of them and coaching them and telling them, trying to make them a better person. So to have them kind of reciprocate that back to you and be supportive of you is kind of a full circle thing. So that's awesome.
Exactly. I let them go to their soccer practice. They let me go to my competition. It's all, comes full circle.
Works out.
Yeah, I think you're a really great role model for them, showing them that you can be all of it or none of it or just some of it. You can be just a hockey player. You can be hockey, soccer, basketball. You can also compete in a Miss USA competition and still be a total badass on the ice. And I think that's sort of the examples that kids today need to be seeing, and even adults. Like, I'm sure you're also inspiring adults that are like, oh, I I've always wanted to do this. I could do it if Joanna can do both of these things that you would think would be so different. Why can't I do the things that I want? So I think your story and what you're doing is incredible, and we just had to chat with you. Okay, I want to do something, and I want Breezy to think I just thought of another idea, and hopefully it won't be a bad one. But I'm going to ask you, as if we were at the big Miss USA competition, the hard-hitting interview questions from like the panel. Do they do that, or is that in the closed room? This is the public, right?
Yes, they do a big like on stage question for the top 5. So definitely
Okay.
in the cards.
Okay. Okay, Breezy, you think of a hard-hitting question for her, and I'm going to go, okay?
Put my
On
pageant
the
hat
spot.
on.
Yeah, put your pageant hat on and shoulders back, boobs out, arm. That's what we do. Chin down, right? Like it's a whole thing. I know it. That's I call it my TV face. Okay. How do you think the NHL handled the Kyle Beach situation, and what would you have done differently?
The biggest thing for me is that we need to be able to listen to everybody and we need to be able to act on that and not try to sweep things under the rug because of where people are in their position. It's so important that we empower people to speak up for themselves, to speak up for their teammates, everyone around the board. I've seen that day in and day out as a youth coach and make sure that being transparent as possible and listening and advocating for others, whether it's yourself, your teammates, anybody. So important.
Very good answer. 10 out of 10. I don't know what the point scale is, but I'm going with that. Breezy, hit her with your hard-hitting interview question. We're helping you prepare.
How am I supposed to follow up with that? I was just going to ask if she believes in aliens.
Hey,
Perfect!
I've been asked what my favorite ice cream flavor was. Like anything's on the table.
Okay. Do you
Okay.
believe in aliens?
I do believe in aliens. I think that I don't know enough about what's out there, and there's a lot out there. So, in my opinion, the world could be crazier than we know, and I do not have enough information to say no to that. So, I will say it exists. There's something out there.
Oh man, have you ever had any UFO experiences or out of towner experiences?
I have not, but I feel like if it was going to happen, it would be in some field in the middle of nowhere, Vermont.
Exactly.
It would be here. I'll let you know, Breezy, if I ever happen upon an alien. I'll message
do.
you like 3 years from now. I'll be like, hey, I found one.
Spotted
It's
it.
real.
You're prepared. You're gonna win. I'm not worried about it. You can handle our interview questions. You're good to go. You don't need to practice. You're ready.
Win or lose, as long as I inspire a lot of girls to play hockey, I am good to go.
Exactly. I'm surprised that like the formerly the like NWHL or the PWHPA, like I'm surprised they haven't reached out to you, or have they?
So I've had a lot of pretty big names reach out. I did an article with USA Hockey, did a article with Women's Hockey Life, and I've also been featured on Sauce Hockey a couple times, which I love my Sauce Hockey kids. So I was like, yes, I was so down for that. So yeah, I'm sure with all the promos and stuff that are going to come out, that's almost entirely footage of me coaching or playing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more where that came from. I don't give my crown up till March, even despite the Miss USA competition. So
Good.
there's still a lot more hockey left, a lot more hockey and Miss USA stuff going on.
All right, we're gonna hit you with our final 3 questions. Breezy, you kick it off.
Okay, so who is your favorite hunk of hockey?
Oh, it's Tom Wilson. Of the
You think
Washington
so?
Capitals. I think he does it all. He can score goals, he can be an enforcer, and he is also very, very attractive.
I agree.
Just a little bit attractive.
Just a
little
little
bit.
bit. Like, don't get an ego, Tom, but you're
Yeah.
pretty attractive.
Like,
I give an A plus.
6
Maybe an A.
4 tall glass of water. Is that how you
Yes.
say it? Yeah.
And
Too funny.
who is your favorite hockey lady?
My favorite hockey lady, as a Vermonter, I have to say Amanda Pelkey. She played at UVM, and she also went on to play for Team USA. So my hometown little hero.
Incredible. And our final question, we ask everybody this question, is do you have a Sidney Crosby story?
A Sidney Crosby story. I don't really have a Sidney Crosby story, actually. I do have kids that I have coached that this is a related Sidney Crosby story. I once was coaching, we were playing a scrimmage in practice, and they were lining up, and all of a sudden one of the kids falls to the ice and like acts like they're writhing in pain. And I was asking what they were doing. And they were like, "Oh, well, it's close to Halloween. I'm pretending to be Sidney Crosby. I'm, playing up my injury." And I'm like, wow, you are 13 years old and you have this kind of humor about Sidney Crosby. So
Sharpen the Sid.
Yeah, they were going after him hard. It's a Capitals area, so they're all Ovechkin or bust over there. So they make fun of Sidney Crosby pretty hard.
I love it. That's so good. All right, well, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media and remind us one more time where we can watch and when the Miss USA competition.
Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram at Joanna Nagle or at Miss VT USA. And I will be competing at Miss USA on November 29th on FYI and Hulu.
Good luck. Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.